So we have you both on to talk about Nickelodeon, specifically, like what we kind of call like 90s Nickelodeon. You do, mention in your book that it, sort of begins a little bit before then and runs a little bit after then. But there is a very specific sort of, I'll use, the word that the young people use, a specific vibe to that period. David and I had been talking, I don't know, the other day, and I think we'll tee it off this way. Cable was in a very unique situation then, where prior to this period, you might have people who were fans of individual shows, but broadcast television, being that there were basically three channels and then maybe a couple of local ones, like you would just have people who were fans of shows, but that the networks had to be very broad to get the widest possible audience. And of course, in the internet, you can have hyper niche, fandoms and hyper niche creators and stuff like that. But that certain cable channels like Nickelodeon and MTV sort of were able to cultivate a brand or some sort of fandom for the network itself rather than individual shows. And I think that something that you talk about in your book is the idea that you would be a fan of Nickelodeon, not just like, oh, I like these two shows, but that it's like the bumpers and all the other sort of elements of the show, the marketing, everything else, like that it curated a type of fandom, I think is probably the closest word that we would use now, that our generation is sort of squarely affixed to, that
Hmm.
people younger than us don't have that same, I think people, the generation removed from us, are fans of SpongeBob, but they may not be Nickelodeon fans the same way that we were.
You just heard a clip from the most recent episode of the History on Film podcast. For more of this episode and access to all our episodes, search for the History on Film podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Pandora. Don't forget to like and subscribe the channel here on YouTube. You can also check out our Discord server, follow us on Blue Sky and Instagram, and please consider supporting us on Patreon. Links in the description. Thanks for listening.